Hello and welcome to Cozy Creeps, where we bundle up and pretend to be sitting by a cozy fire and listening to spooky tales. I'm Reagan,
I'm River.
and we will be your host for this chilling story. Hi guys, we finally did it. We finally made it to part 3 of the Normalmstorg. That's a tough one to say. Normalmstorg robbery. We are finally at the tail end of it. We're gonna finish it, and this episode's gonna be a bit longer. Sorry guys, but we gotta finish this. This is crazy. It's taking too long. We gotta finish it.
Yeah.
So we are gonna knock this out. We're gonna get through it, and then finally we will be back on track for paranormal.
Yay.
Yeah.
Sorry to keep y'all paranormal fans
Yeah.
hanging.
Sorry to deprive you like this, but like this is. He wanted a non-murder true crime story. This was the first one that popped in my head, and I forgot how long it was, but I already committed, so we're here.
You know what? It's been a fun one so far.
It has been. It's definitely an interesting one to say the least. But yeah, so let's get into it. So everyone, bundle up in your favorite blankets, grab your comfort drinks, and let's get creepy. Alrighty, so to recap. Oh my lord.
Recap.
Guys, I'm so sorry. I apparently can't talk today. To recap, 4 hostages. We have Birgitta, Kristen, Elizabeth, and Sven. We have 2 bank robbers, Jan and Clark. The police, a big ol' mess. The hostages are feeling safer with their captors than they are with the police interventions. And psychologists are now telling police that for the mental health of the victims, and so that they don't suffer long-term psychological damage, they need to end this situation soon. The police's solution? Tear gas, baby!
Oh, yeah, I forgot where we left
Yeah,
off.
that's where we left off, was they are gonna tear gas everyone.
Cause property damage and psychological damage and physical damage.
Oh, just wait, it's a roller coaster ride before we even get to the tear gas, honestly. So, the police are going to drill into the vault from the outside, drop tear gas that is supposed to supposedly only hit Jan and Clark, even though the hostages are in there.
A gas. Isn't that no physics, chemistry, a gas?
Oh, we're about to have a whole conversation about this. And then they're gonna rescue the hostages. Yay! What could go wrong? Well, let me tell you, the police spoke with a chemical weapons specialist who let them know that it would take a while to knock out the robbers, meaning that the robbers would have plenty of time to potentially harm the hostages. That's what could go wrong. Also, yeah, the gas is gonna hit the hostages. Like, this should be obvious, but apparently it's not. That the gas is gonna hit the hostages along with Jan and Clark. The police heard all this, they listened to the expert, and they decided let's do it anyway.
What do I know? I'm a doctor.
Yeah, right. What do I know, guys? So the police start getting an estimate of like the size of the vault and then measuring out the dosage of gas they would need to release. Then they begin drilling into the vault. Now this is loud AF. This is so loud. The noise that is coming from the drilling is awful.
Tell me a drill meant to drill through concrete and metal is loud?
So loud. It's so loud. Through the surveillance mics, they could hear the women yelling, "No, stop, please," because it was so painfully loud. And the police, hearing this, assumed that the men must be raping Kristen because of the screaming. Not the intense sound coming from the drilling that's destroying their eardrums. No, 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 no. They went with rape. That's what they went with.
Rape? Shit.
Like, that rather than taking accountability for the fact that they were the ones causing the problem, they blamed it on the robbers for something that literally was not happening. But this story gets out to the press and is spread across headlines, making this whole situation seem completely different than what it is. Because again, the police are not taking accountability for the fact that they are drilling through concrete and metal, and that makes a really loud noise. No, 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 no. We're going to blame the robbers, and we're going to say they're raping the women.
It seems like police from across the globe are unaccountable.
It's just a common theme, apparently. However, just in case it wasn't obvious from what I've been saying so far, Kristen was yelling at the police to stop yelling because it was so loud. She wanted them to stop drilling. They all wanted them to stop drilling. One officer actually did realize this and pointed it out to his colleagues, but they shut him down and just ran with their version of events instead.
Bro.
Yeah, these police are something fucking else.
I'm sure this isn't taking place in America.
Nope, it's Switzerland, I swear. Kristen later said that during this
That was
time,
Norway.
what?
That was like Norway or Sweden.
It's Stockholm, Sweden. You're right. My bad. I know where we are.
The Swiss was like, we're not going to take sides.
No, thank you. No, it's in Sweden. I'm sorry. I'm
No, it's
tired.
been a long 3 weeks.
It's been a long few weeks, man. I'm tired. I forgot where we were for a second. Anyway, Kristen later said that during this time, and she was trying to like explain it herself to the police, Clark was actually holding her hand to calm her down, and this made her feel, quote, enormously secure. Like, she's trying to explain herself to police, like, no, I'm not being assaulted. The only thing being assaulted is my eardrums from your drill. Like, and Clark is there comforting her, like, there, you're doing great, sweetie.
I hope Clark is doing well. I don't know the end of the story, but I hope Clark's doing well.
We'll get there. So some people actually thought that the sound of the drill would work to the police's advantage because it would wear down Jan and Clark mentally. And again, I say it would do the same damn thing to the hostages. Anything being done to Jan and Clark as a mental or physical torture is going to be done to the hostages. Like, let's make that abundantly clear now. Like, I don't know how the police didn't think this through. I really don't. It's just baffling.
Yeah.
So with all of this noise, the police trying to drill through to tear gas them, Jan is starting to panic because Jan is our little wild card here, if you remember from part 2. And he's realizing, the police are going to gas them, and he was terrified of what the tear gas would do to him as like permanent, long-term issues. And like the expert pointed out to police, Jan started rigging up an explosive to try and fight back, putting the hostages in immediate danger. Shocker. We should have listened to the expert. Shocker, I know. It's crazy, but we should have. So Clark is trying to get him to stop by telling him that an explosive would do more damage to them than tear gas would, but Jan isn't listening, and he continues making the explosive.
I'm more impressed that he can just make an explosive.
I mean, he had a gun on him. I'm sure there was some form of like gunpowder that he could use to make an explosive. And they're in a bank vault. I'm sure there's plenty, like there's materials where you could probably make a makeshift bomb, probably.
I guess.
I don't know. I don't know how to make a bomb, so I don't know. So Jan yells at the police that he has set up a bomb to block the drill, and the police called him a bastard for abusing the women in the vault.
You could say the same thing about the police.
Listen. Jan responds, what a shitty thing to say, I've never abused a chick in my life, end quote. He's got his priorities straight, Like, he didn't hit a lady, which good on him, but, like, also, buddy.
Hey, some things are morally better than others.
I mean, I guess so, yeah.
I'm just trying to take the money. I'm not trying to hurt people.
I've never hit a lady. Fuck you for insinuating that. I'm just setting up a bomb because you're drilling into this vault where I'm holding hostages.
I've only stolen money and, broken into things and whatever else his other crime record might
Amen.
say.
So the women shouted that they were unharmed and that it was the police that would ensure their demise if they kept drilling. Jan let the police know that he put the women under the line of the drill, meaning that if they kept drilling, concrete would fall on the women and hurt them. Not only this, he had Sven standing on a chair along the drill's path as well, and he would be killed by falling concrete if they kept going.
Jeez. That's a sacrifice I'm willing to make.
Yes. Some of you may die, but that is a sacrifice I am willing to make. We are still a Shrek household in here through and through because of our toddler, so woo. But right now it's Puss in Boots. She has shifted gears a little. Anyway, back to the story. On the phone, Brigitte was begging for the release of Jan, Clark, and all the hostages. Everyone's yelling. Jan is saying that Sven and the woman would die if the police kept drilling, and the police said they would not stop drilling and that if anyone got hurt, it was Jan's fault, not theirs. Like, they are being told that their hostages that they're supposedly trying to get out safely would be put in harm's way if they kept doing what they were doing. And they were like, no, it's not our fault, it's your fault. Like,
the thing about criminals, like, even if these guys are, like, being nice, they're still, like, morally compromised.
yeah,
And so if the police also
are more
compromise,
compromised apparently.
then, again, the only people getting hurt are the hostages.
Yeah. Plus, on top of all this, no one is listening to the hostages as actual people who would want to be part of the decisions for their safety, but they're just basically being used as pawns, either by the police or by the robbers. Like both
Gee,
sides are just using them as pawns in this game that
that
they're
reminds
playing.
me of today's too.
Amen to that.
Yeah.
Eventually, Jan did move the hostages out of harm's way to the back of the vault, and he put a blanket over their heads, assumingly to help protect them from the tear gas.
Oh,
Clark also told them to cover their eyes and open their mouths as a way to help relieve pressure from their eardrums from all the noise the drill was making. Like,
oh, I didn't
and
know that.
I listened to, and that's why I would drink for most of these notes as well. And they also pointed out, like, how are the police not the ones telling the hostages this to help them?
They probably didn't know either. It was like, oh
I
wow,
guess not.
that's a good idea.
Yeah, Elizabeth actually remembers wondering why the police hadn't told them any of this, and again felt like her captors cared more for her safety than the police did, which it really does feel that way, okay? It really does.
I mean, it's not a very high bar to clear.
Yeah, really not. Now, Jan's explosive did end up going off and damaging the drill and causing concrete to fall from the ceiling. It took a bit for them to repair the drill, but the police were finally able to break through the vault. The police told Jan that he had 20 minutes to send up his guns and explosives, or they would commence with the tear gas. Now, while drilling, they actually hit an electrical wire, so now it's pitch black in the vault. They're just sitting there in the dark because the lights went out because they hit this electrical wire. So they're
Just checking all the boxes.
yeah, they're sitting in the dark there, and Clark yells up to the police, asking them to send down water and tampons because one of the women had started her period.
Jeez.
Like the situation's just getting
Comical at this point.
it's just getting worse and worse and worse. And Clark is actively here like, oh, like good on Clark for being not being a weirdo about the fact that a woman's body did something it's naturally supposed to do, but instead was like, hey, yo, we need tampons. Like, get them down here.
This lady's, she's bleeding, from the parts. It's so weird.
No. We'll get to more of what he said on that. But again, like, not doing a good thing here with the robbery and stuff and holding them hostage, but like a gentleman. Now, unfortunately, he would ask this, and the woman would then hear the police laughing about the request for tampons.
Bro.
Yeah, just like if I was one of these women, the way I would climb out of the holes they drilled and slap a bitch. I would just be
This is high
so
school?
infuriated.
Like,
Right? Like, is this middle school? Like, oh no, women's bodies are gross.
it's like,
They
oh,
do
he touched
something
the butt.
natural. Oh my god, periods are so yucky. It's not like it's a natural process. Just shut the fuck up, you little
how do you
babies.
pee?
You little
How do
babies.
you pee if you have a tampon up there?
Oh my god. So Sven yelled, "We need some menstruation pads. Do you know what that is?" And Clark yelled after him, "They're tampons!" up to the police, and they just continued to laugh about it. So, again, because a woman's natural bodily functions are yucky and something to make fun of. Assholes. So, on top of this disrespectful reaction, the police refused to send down the tampons. Why? Don't know. It's not like they can use those for explosives. Trust me. No, they can't, I promise. Maybe kindling to, like, keep warm if they needed to, but, like, that's about it. But it's also August, so I think they're fine. But, like, yeah, it just makes me crazy. And, like, I just want to say, like, I wouldn't care if I was labeled a crazy person at this point for feeling safer with my captors. Like, I would 100%, after this whole event, tell people, yeah, I felt safer with the people holding me hostage than the police because, fuck these police.
Bro, if I was like in the situation and I had the choice of either becoming a criminal or going with these police,
I'm
then
becoming a criminal.
I'm becoming a criminal. Like,
Like,
this thing is money out of it.
fuck this, man. So, instead of helping the hostages yet again, they readied to gas the vault. But Jan made another plan. In the dark, he made 4 nooses.
Dang, that's impressive, actually.
Mm-hmm. He leveraged them up high and wrapped them around the hostages' necks. Jan told the police that if they gassed and stormed the vault, the hostages would hang. Also, if they gassed the vault, the hostages, everyone's going to fall unconscious from the tear gas, including the hostages, and they would hang anyways. Even if Jan didn't, like, push them in the way to, like make them hang, they're going to pass out and hang anyway. They're going to, either way, they're hanging, they're dying. So Clark told the police to stand down, but the police said they would gas the vault anyway. Sven got on the line and told the police that if they gassed the vault, they would seal the fates of all the victims. The police tried to assure Sven that they would get him out, but Sven told them that if they went ahead with using the gas, they wouldn't need to get them out and could just bury them there instead. Because they'd be dead. At this point, everyone's exhausted, emotions are strung high, and one officer asked with tears in his eyes, like, what are we going to do now? Because they really are in between a rock and a hard spot. Like, Jan will hang these people or let them be hung, and it's like, guys,
Let them go.
just
Not let them go. Like, you just gotta freaking.
just meet the demands. Just meet
You
the
just gotta
demands
meet
at
the
this
demand.
point.
This could have ended like 5 days ago.
Right, it could have. So at this point, police decide to withdraw the gas and cover the hole. They then held a press conference saying that they would go home and rest. So while the hostages are still being held in this bank in this stressful situation, the police went home for a good night's sleep.
You know, as a hostage at this point, I feel better too if the police went home and went to bed.
Go take a nap, you need one clearly. At this point as well, the public is starting to see Clark more as a villain than as a vigilante as they had been before. Like, keep in mind, Clark to the public kind of had this like Robin Hood-esque like personality, and like a lot of people kind of saw him more as a Robin Hood figure and were almost cheering for him. But at this point, because of what the police are sharing with the news, like about the possible rape and everything, people are thinking of Clark more as a villain. Yeah, when it's not even true. Like, I'm not saying Clark was doing anything great here, but like, it's not as bad as what the police are saying. So, police actually opened a hotline encouraging people to call in with ideas of what they should do next. That's right, they reached out to the
I
public.
hope they start out. Just let them go.
No. We get some real stupid ideas, guys, okay? For example, one person called in with the idea, let them out, but mop the floor outside the vault so that Jan will slip and drop his gun.
I'm glad the people of Sweden are
It's
stupid
giving,
too.
they said this on the end, that's why we drink too, and I just can't help but agree, but it's giving just put some banana peels outside the vault.
I'm thinking just push the bank to the other side of town so that they're left outside.
Yeah, it's giving Patrick Star going, what if we push it to the other side? It's giving that. So someone else said to use a huge magnet to pull the gun out of Jan's hand.
I mean,
These are real suggestions the police got.
that's actually a pretty valid suggestion.
No, it's not.
If
it's
if
not.
you did have a big enough magnet,
Still not.
theoretically it's possible.
Absolutely not. So more psychologists are joining the side of letting Jan and Clark leave with the hostages because it's becoming clear that that's the safest option they have. Like, psychologists are telling them, like, guys, really, you should just let them go with the hostages, please. Like, that is your best bet at this point.
Before we go any further, anyone listening, post your idea. What's
Yeah.
your crazy idea to
Comment,
get 'em out?
comment your idea that you would have called into with the police to help the hostages. Comment it all. I want to hear it. I want to know your answers.
The more unhinged, the better, honestly.
Honestly, the more unhinged, we'll like go over the top few that we find in next week's episode because I want to hear them. They just sound like it's going to be a fun time. All right, back to the story. Thankfully, inside the vault, Jan did let the hostages out of the nooses, and police listened in while they all just chatted, played games, and were doing things to pass the time.
Games.
They're stuck in there. What else are they gonna do?
Wonder what games they're playing. Let's play MASH.
The little hand clapping games.
Listen, clapping games.
You know,
Jacks.
Upstairs. If they had Jacks in there, I'd laugh so hard. So they were just talking too, and like talking about all sorts of things from like their dreams and aspirations to Sven and how he's trying to quit smoking. And one of the women said that the other bank workers were lucky, not because they weren't hostages, but because they were all on vacation since the bank was closed. Sven said that there was no way and that they were probably put to work in other banks by their bosses. Fun fact, he was right.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Yep. They also discussed topics of morality, and the hostages even asked Clark and Jan like what prison was like, and just had a lot of deep conversations. Now, the next morning, police lowered a bucket with sandwiches, milk, toilet paper, and finally some fucking tampons. It's about time. The group, I'm sorry, that made me so heated when I was listening to that. I was so mad about it. The group ate the food, and Jan would make the hostages wear the nooses anytime he thought the police were watching, but he would give them breaks. Clark also let them know that should the gas actually come, he would cut them all down before they passed out. Like, if they realized the gas was coming out, he would go and cut them down quickly.
Oh.
They eventually started taking shifts in the nooses, and Sven would stay the longest, saying that he wanted to make sure the women had more of a break.
Good guy, Sven.
Sven is just the realist. Jan would tell him that this was very respectable. I just love how these bank robbers are gassing Sven up. I hope Sven lives the best
I'll
life.
say if Sven doesn't hook up and like have a happy life with one of these other
I don't think
ladies,
he does, but if I remember correctly, he doesn't. But like, I think he has a good life still. Sven is just, he's the realest member of this group. So the police drilled 6 more holes into the vault because why not? And the gas plan was back on, apparently. Why? Jan popped up through one of the holes and shot at the police, hitting one in the cheek. That police officer survived, but he did get hit in the cheek with a bullet.
that's crazy. Did they say how big these holes were?
No,
That's a huge hole. I
didn't
feel like
hear ya.
4 feet across.
I guess so. I don't know.
Yeah, no wonder that drill was so loud.
Now, when this was announced over the radio, because, news stations are reporting all this, the people in the vaults heard this and they started cheering for Jan. Like, yeah, he hit him. Yeah. Now, on the final night, ambulances were on standby with oxygen and blood to treat major trauma in case of how this whole situation was about to play out. The police asked radio stations to stop reporting on what was happening outside the bank since they knew there was a radio in the vault, and if they were reporting on this, it would alert Jan and Clark to what was about to happen.
And OG stream sniping.
The radio stations agreed, and then announced the arrival of the ambulances outside the bank. So obviously, Jan and Clark put 2 and 2 together about what was about to happen.
Bro.
Stupid.
I feel like these news people are actually on Jan and Clark's side.
Guys, guess what? So at 9:05 p.m., the hostages were not on the nooses, and the police released the gas. Everyone collapses coughing. The police also locked the vault from the outside, trapping everyone in the vault. The hostages begged the police to open the vault and let them out, but the police ignored this and said that they would not release anyone until Jan passed his gun up through one of the holes. Jan yelled, "I will not sacrifice you all, that was never my intention," and surrendered the gun to the police. Police opened the vault, but they couldn't get anyone out because they were blocked by a bunch of debris.
What? How did that get there?
Man, how'd that happen? Also, they never sent down a wire for Jan to actually surrender his gun. They never sent anything down for him to, send it back up. So how's he supposed to surrender the gun if they're just...
They bought the big magnet. Darn.
Darn it.
They left that one at home, too.
Darn it, guys. So Jan is yelling at the police that he surrenders and to send down the wire, and the hostages are begging to be released. The police outside the vault did not realize that the hostages were blocked in by rubble and could not understand why the hostages were not coming out of the vault. So what do? They command the officers above to pump more gas into the vault. I wish I was making this up. As a result, there's more screaming from everyone inside the vault. Doctors told police that they had about 15 more minutes to get them out and expose them to oxygen before the gas would become even more dangerous and cause lasting damage or even kill them. It had been 30 minutes of the gas, but thankfully, because our police here are so good at making mistakes, they actually made a good mistake. And the gas was being sprayed horizontally instead of vertically down into the vault. So a lot of it was being sprayed against walls instead of directly into the vault. Thank God. No, this works out for the hostages.
No, I know,
thankfully.
but their incompetency.
Their incompetence came in handy this one time. It's not shocking they made a mistake, but it's shocking they made a mistake that actually worked in the favor of the hostages for once. Now, after 45 minutes, the police finally got the gun and explosives from Jan and told everyone to come out, the hostages first. However, the women told Clark and Jan to walk out first as a way to protect them, because they knew whoever walked out first, the police are not going to shoot at them, because they're going to assume it's the hostages. So Jan and Clark walked out first. So they do this, and as soon as they come out, an officer presses a gun against Jan's neck and is threatening to shoot him as he's being handcuffed. They are handcuffing the guy, and this police officer has a gun to his neck and is threatening to shoot him. He's being detained, he's not fighting back, and they're doing this. Clark was also restrained to a stretcher, but a recording caught officers hitting him in the face and kneeing him, even though they had him restrained and in custody.
Jeez.
Sounds familiar.
Why do police freaking forces around the world have like the shittiest people?
Sounds familiar. Anyway, Kristen yelled at the police to stop attacking the men. Now, immediately, the police start interviewing the victims and immediately start asking them about if they were raped and about rape in general. And Sven said that Jan had been pleasant to the women and that the women regarded both men very well. Kristen berated the police for how they handled the whole situation and also said to send her regards to Clark with a hug and a kiss. Get it, girl. I love this. I love that reaction for them, honestly. Now, major media outlets such as the New York Times said that a reliable, yeah, right, police officer confirmed that the women were undoubtedly sexually assaulted. They weren't. They weren't. Psychiatrists reported that the victims were shell-shocked, which is kind of an early term for PTSD, and that they couldn't properly remember what had happened and that's why they weren't admitting, quote unquote, to being raped.
Can't they like check? Like don't they have like physical exams to check
For PTSD?
for rape?
Um, I don't know if they had them in the 70s. I don't know if they had them at this point. They do now. They have rape kits now. But also, I think usually you have to go within like 24 to 48 hours to have it still, like, have everything be viable for them to check it. I don't know the whole details behind a rape kit, honestly, but I don't know if they even had them in the 70s.
Hurt.
So, back to the story. Sorry, guys, tangent. So, Swedish psychiatrist Niels Beirot, along with the police, coined the term Stockholm Syndrome, named after the square where the bank was located. Now, this term would eventually evolve into Stockholm Syndrome, probably because it was easier for the rest of the world to say.
Like it just rolls off the tongue better.
It does.
Was it alliteration?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, like come on, it's hard to beat
It
alliteration.
really is. Now, one police officer named Morgan Rylander challenged the police's version of events after the ordeal, stating that Jan never strangled any of the women, which, if we remember all the way back in part one, that was the whole reason the police sent Clark in there to begin with, is because he was supposedly harming and strangling the women. And so that's why they sent Clark into the bank to calm him down. And the women confirmed this. They were never strangled or harmed in that way. So this would obviously be a huge problem for the police because that, again, was their whole justification for sending Clark into the bank in the first place. So since they weren't strangled, why did they send Clark into the bank?
Not to mention the freaking boy.
Oh my God, we're not even going there. That was just too much. He also challenged several other claims the police made, but the police wrote him off, saying that he was also suffering from trauma like the victims and wasn't remembering things correctly.
Who's to say that about the other police with the other stories?
Gaslighting. Well, the thing is, it's the many against the one. Like, the majority of the police were saying, no, this guy's crazy.
As always.
And unfortunately, yeah, gaslighting. Anyway, as we can all guess, the victims all viewed Jan and Clark positively after this event. Now, Clark actually was not sentenced to more time for the event taking place because, like, he didn't plan it. He didn't technically do this. He was literally thrown into it by the police. This was not his fault.
I'm surprised that they didn't stack more time on there.
No, but he did have to go back and finish his previous 6-year sentence that he had been serving.
I mean, fair.
Sven actually visited Jan in prison, and he actually at one point ran into Clark at a nightclub by chance and shared a table with him and hung out with him for the night.
That's crazy.
I love that for him. Kristen did actually enter a romantic relationship with Clark. Not too shocking, but okay. But it did eventually end. It didn't work out, but they did have a bit of a romantic relationship together. She also struggled a lot with the idea of Stockholm Syndrome and felt very judged because of how she chose to survive this very stressful and terrifying situation. Because people are basically looking at her like, oh, you didn't have a choice. You were suffering from this thing. And she's like, no, I made the choices I made to survive. Like, it wasn't some syndrome or whatever. Like, the heck? So, Kristen did eventually become a social worker, and she made it to her goal to listen to those who no one listened to and help them.
Good shit.
Elizabeth and Kristen became very good friends through the situation, and they actually traveled together a lot and like would go on vacations and just hang out as buds.
Besties.
Elizabeth also quit the bank and she moved back in with her family to take time to heal.
Understandable.
Birgitta went back to her husband and children, and she actually continued to work at the bank for another 30 years.
That's crazy to me.
Again, I hope she got all the accolades she deserves. Clark was in and out of prison for decades after the event, and he was sailing the Mediterranean, robbing more banks, escaping from prison again, until his final release from prison in 2018.
Ooh.
Now, Jan served his time for the heist quietly, and in 2020, author David King released a book on the event called 6 Days in August and went into detail about everything that happened during the heist. He's the one who interviewed all of the hostages and everything and got their points of views and reported on them more thoroughly than any news outlets seem to have at the actual time of the event.
I mean, of course, news outlets are very biased too.
Yeah, obviously. Now, when he met with Clark, he asked him about the Norman Storg robbery, and Clark said, quote, fuck, it was fun. End quote.
Facts.
I love that for him.
Chad.
I love that for him. Now, when David talked about it to Jan actually expressed a deep regret over the whole situation,
You don't say.
saying he had no right to endanger innocent people's lives for his own gain, and if he could go back and undo what he did, he would.
Okay, but did Jan go clean after this?
As far as I'm aware, yeah, we didn't really have any other information about him robbing any more banks or anything.
Okay.
Yeah, or at least not holding anyone hostage. That's a plus, I guess.
I guess so.
And with that, that is the end of the Norman Storg robbery, aka how we ended up with the term Stockholm Syndrome.
Nice.
Yeah, so that's the story. We're finally done. We finally made it through, guys.
Okay, this one wasn't too long.
No, it wasn't as long as I thought it was going to be, thankfully. But thank you so much for joining us for this episode of Cozy Creeps. We are officially wherever you get your podcast. We also have a Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok page, all under Cozy Creeps Podcast that you can check out. You can also email us at cozycreepspodcast.com with any recommendations or listener stories that you may have of your own experiences, paranormal, true crime, alien, your random Tuesday. I don't know, whatever floats your boat at this point. We just want someone to email us and love us. Please. Anyway, so that is that. You can also DM me any listener stories or recommendations through any of our social medias. I'm checking them regularly throughout the week, so I will see them there and we can take them into consideration. And we will start working on next week's episode and get that out to y'all as soon as we can. So with that, go bundle up in your warm blanket, finish off your cozy drink, and stay cozy. Bye.